Welcome back to Friends with Benefits Car Club, where the car news comes with extra sarcasm, zero apologies, and probably a few jokes that'll get us banned from every dealership in town. But before we dive into the madness, I just want to say thank you. We hit 200 subscribers, and honestly, that's insane. I figured the only people watching would be my family, and even they're tired of me talking about cars. So seriously, thank you for proving them wrong. We're building something fun here, and the goal is to grow this crew to 10,000 strong by the end of the year. So hit that subscribe button and bring a friend, a cousin, or your uncle with the midlife crisis Mustang. Now, onto today's episode. We've got automakers having meltdowns over tariffs, whispers that Tesla might actually replace Elon Musk, and a whole lot more chaos you'll want to stick around for. So buckle up. This is Friends with Benefits Car Club, and things are about to get weird in the best way. So, Mercedes-Benz, yes, the same brand that gave us luxury sedans so smooth they should come with a neck pillow, has decided to actually build a high-volume model in the US. That's right, not a special edition, not a moonshot AMG project, a mass market model in Alabama. Apparently, Mercedes is leaning into this made in America thing harder than a bald eagle on a Harley. The rumor mill says it could be an electric vehicle, maybe even a compact SUV, which is cute because nothing screams American dream like a German car built in the South. It's probably also a hedge against rising tariffs and supply chain headaches, but let's not pretend this is purely patriotic. This is about money, baby. Mercedes wants that sweet IRA tax credit, and they're willing to slap a Roll Tide sticker on the battery to get it. Speaking of money, oh boy, automakers are sweating like they just saw their dealership markup exposed on Twitter. Thanks to incoming tariffs, several companies have just straight up scrapped their 2025 financial outlooks. Ford, GM, and others are basically looking at the economic forecast and saying, yeah, no thanks, we're gonna skip that year. And you know it's bad when automakers, literal masters of optimistic PowerPoint slides, start ghosting Wall Street. They're blaming it on the uncertainty around US, China trade tensions, and Trump's tariff escalation. But let's be honest, they've also been gambling hard on the EV transition, and the chips aren't falling the way they hoped. So what's the plan? Less guidance, more guessing. And if you ask them about profit margins next year, they'll probably say, we don't know. Ask ChatGPT. Now, onto the next plot twist in Carland. Toyota's chairman, Akio Toyoda, decided to drop a spicy hot take and basically said, EV sports cars are a fantasy. Yep, he's calling cap on the entire idea. According to Toyota, we shouldn't expect electric sports cars to deliver the same excitement, soul, or emotional connection as gas-powered ones. Because apparently, EVs lack drama, which is rich coming from the company that gave us the Prius. But look, we get it. He's trying to say electric drivetrains don't offer that same rawness, the gear changes, the growl of an engine. And while he's not totally wrong, have you heard a turbo V6 at full send? It also sounds a bit like someone defending rotary phones in the age of iPhones. Still, it's a bold move to say this out loud while everyone else is slapping GT badges on electric cars like sprinkles on a donut. Alright, brace yourself because this one's juicier than a Model X panel gap in the rain. Tesla's board is reportedly looking for a CEO successor. Yes, that Tesla. Yes, that Elon Musk. And yes, this is actually happening. Now, the board isn't saying, Elon, pack your bags, just yet, but sources say they've begun a quiet CEO search, planning for the day when Musk might no longer lead Tesla, and that day might come sooner than fans think, especially with how many side quests he's currently on. Twitter/X, SpaceX, Neuralink, AI startups, political rants, live streaming himself playing Diablo 4 at 3 a.m., you name it. And look, to be fair, Elon's done a lot for Tesla. He helped turn a niche electric startup into the iPhone of cars. But now, Wall Street is wondering if he's becoming more distraction than visionary. Tesla's stock has taken a few dives lately. Model 2 is delayed. Cybertruck rollouts are, let's say, experimental, and the brand's once invincible shine is starting to fade like it's matte wrap after a sandstorm. So the board's thinking, maybe we need a Tim Cook to Elon's Steve Jobs. Someone a little more normal. But that's the question. Can you lead Tesla without being completely chaotic? Could someone like, say, Tom Zhu, the Tesla China boss, or JB Straubel, OG Tesla co-founder, be the steady hand on the wheel? If Elon leaves or even shares the power, the Tesla fan base might need group therapy. But from a business angle, it might be exactly what the brand needs to get out of this. Elon says something, stock drops 12% cycle. let's head over to General Motors, where someone must have finally opened their calculator app because the Equinox EV and Blazer EV just got massive price cuts. The Equinox EV, originally teasing everyone with a $30,000 promise and then pulling a bait and switch into the $40,000 plus zone, is now back to a more reasonable $34,995. And that includes the $7,500 tax credit. That's a decent price for a 5-seat crossover that doesn't look like a futuristic egg. The Blazer EV also saw a major cut, now starting at $41,995. That's down nearly $6,000 from the previous MSRP. It's like GM realized no one wanted to pay BMW prices for a car named after a jacket. But here's where it gets spicy. This move isn't just about being nice to consumers, it's about staying in the EV fight. Ford's cutting prices on the Mach-E. Tesla's basically doing weekly fire sales. And Hyundai/Kia are throwing every rebate, lease deal, and PowerPoint chart at the wall to keep demand alive. So now GM is like, hey, we're affordable too. They even adjusted trim levels to squeeze out a few more competitive options. This could actually help the Equinox EV become a volume seller, which GM desperately needs. Because, let's be real, if this didn't happen, the next GM EV might have come with a complimentary apology note. Okay, now onto the boutique brand that promised a coach-built revolution and delivered a financial faceplant. Radford Motors has officially collapsed into bankruptcy, and let's just say the owners of their bespoke $500,000 plus sports cars are not sending them thank you notes. In fact, they're calling lawyers and therapy hotlines. Radford was founded by F1 champ Jenson Button, car TV presenter Ant Anstead, and designer Mark Stubbs. They promised the Radford Type 62-2, a reimagined Lotus race car with retro beauty and modern performance. On paper, it was the stuff of car nerd dreams, but dreams don't pay invoices. Turns out the company ran out of money faster than a Hellcat on launch control. Reports say only 13 cars were completed, while customers who paid massive deposits, or in some cases, the full amount, are now being ghosted harder than a sketchy crypto bro on Discord. One US buyer dropped over $700,000, only to get a car with missing trim, panels falling off, and a steering wheel straight out of a Wish.com karting set. Another got a non-functional prototype that allegedly failed its smog test before it even hit the street. Radford is blaming investor issues and supply chain challenges, but let's call it what it is. They went full boutique startup, spent like rock stars, and had zero margin for error. Classic look rich, drive poor energy. Honestly, this feels like a masterclass in how not to launch a car company. Next time you want a retro sports car, maybe just buy a used Cayman and slap a British racing green wrap on it. Let's close with a feel-good-ish story. Hyundai's April 2025 US sales are up, and it's not because of EVs, it's because Americans are falling back in love with hybrids. Sales of Hyundai's hybrid models jumped 42% year over year. Meanwhile, their EVs, like the Ioniq 5 and 6, saw flat or declining numbers, and it's not hard to figure out why. Hybrids are the Goldilocks option of the 2020s. They sip fuel like EVs, but don't make you cry when you realize the next charging station is located in the 7th circle of hell. You don't need apps, cables, or sacrifice rituals. Just gas up, go, and enjoy your 50+ miles per gallon. The Elantra Hybrid, Tucson Hybrid, and Santa Fe Hybrid are all selling like hotcakes at the county fair. Why? Because they're practical, affordable, and let you pretend you're saving the planet without changing your whole lifestyle. Hyundai's takeaway? More hybrids, more trims, more marketing. They know the EV hype is cooling, especially with inflation and infrastructure anxiety still hanging around like an expired Uber coupon. So yeah, while everyone else was chasing fully electric unicorns, Hyundai quietly stocked the garage with efficient workhorses. And guess what? In this economy, workhorses win. And that's gonna do it for today's ride through the wonderful, chaotic mess that is the automotive world. If you stuck around this long, you're officially part of the Friends with Benefits Car Club. And honestly, we wouldn't want it any other way. We covered a lot. Tariff meltdowns, leadership drama, automakers ghosting customers, and trust me, there's more where that came from. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button, we can take it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Which story shocked you the most, or made you double check your bank account before buying your next EV? And if you want want to catch up on previous episodes, I'll leave them up on the screen for you. Seriously, thank you for watching to the end. It means the world to us. Whether you're here for the laughs, the news, or just to hang out, you're part of the Friends with Benefits family. Now, until next time, keep dreaming, keep driving, and remember, if the car you're driving doesn't make you feel like a superhero, you're driving the wrong one. Friends with Benefits. Car Club, driving off.